Hi everyone, my name is Christopher Swiedler and I'm the author of a new book called In the Red. It's about two kids living on Mars who are stranded outside during a massive solar flare. During the day though, I'm an engineer at a video game company called Roblox. And sometimes people ask me how it is that I work on video games and also write books. But here's something that might surprise you. Video game design is a lot like writing. So think about this. When you're an author, one of the first things you have to think about is your setting. You have to have a place for your story to exist in. And every video game has a setting too. You can think about Super Mario Brothers has this world filled with hammer-throwing turtles and bricks that give you coins when you bonk your head against them. With both books and video games, the point of the setting is to make you feel like you're in some other place. And that place has to be vivid and imaginative, but it also has to be pretty familiar and predictable. And all that applies whether you're talking about Mars in the 22nd century or this crazy kingdom ruled by a giant turtle who always likes to keep his princesses in another castle. For my book, I got to daydream what it might be like to live on Mars in the future. And so I imagine these big domed cities filled with regular looking houses and schools and parks where everything just feels pretty normal. Except that it's not at all normal because as soon as you go outside, there's this deadly solar radiation and lethal atmosphere and everything's colder than Antarctica, and that's all on a good day. Let me ask you something. How much do you like rules? I don't mean following them, I mean making them up. My kids love making up rules for games. Usually they'll spend more time making up the rules for their games than they spend actually playing them. Usually it'll go something like this. All right, you're totally dead if one bullet hits your head or two bullets hit your torso, but you're only partially dead if you get hit by a sword, and not at all if you're touching one of these three bases, and no close range shots because those hurt. If you like making rules, you will love making video games. Video games are all about rules. Do this one thing and you succeed, do this other thing and you fail. The rules don't even have to make any real world sense. Why does eating fruit make Pac-Man invincible? I don't know, but it's fun. When you write a story, you get to come up with every single one of the rules for your world. Everything is under your control. Superman can fly, but he's vulnerable to kryptonite. Luke Skywalker can use the Force, but he can't give in to anger or he'll be drawn in by the dark side. Harry Potter can control the Elder Wand, but only if he defeats its owner. I think. That one's a little complicated. Part of the story of In the Red involves kids going out onto the surface of Mars, where you can be killed by 100 different things. So I started thinking, what would the rules be for something like that? Like here on Earth, you usually have to be 16 years old and pass an exam to be able to drive a car. So is there some sort of spacesuit exam on Mars? What happens if you pass? And what happens if you fail? Do kids sneak outside in the middle of the night? Do they borrow the family rover and go for midnight drives? One of the most fun things about video games is that you get to step into the shoes of a character, whether that's a sword-wielding ninja or a star quarterback or a frenetic blue hedgehog with oversized sneakers. But it's not enough just to show the character up on screen. You need to connect with them. You need to feel that you really could be that person. And they have to be strong and powerful or else there's no way to win the game. But they also have to be vulnerable because if not, there's no way to lose. And most of all, they have to be sympathetic and admirable because if not, why would you want to be them? Books are exactly the same way. A story isn't going to be any fun unless the main characters have the ability to affect the story through their choices. Frodo and Samwise have to choose to go to Mordor to destroy the One Ring. Percy Jackson has to choose to go to the underworld to rescue his mother. Iron Man has to choose to use the Infinity Gauntlet to snap his fingers and destroy Thanos. Sorry, hope I didn't spoil anything for you there. The main character of In the Red is a 12-year-old boy named Michael, who has something called suit anxiety disorder, which means that he gets panic attacks whenever he puts on an environment suit and goes outside onto the surface of Mars. Now, if this were me, I would just stay inside where it's safe, but Michael isn't satisfied with that. He chooses to take the suit exam, even though his parents have forbidden it. He chooses to go outside in the middle of the night with his best friend Lilith. And he chooses to drive for hundreds of miles across the desert to go see his dad in the middle of a powerful solar flare. Now, just because they're his choices doesn't mean they're good choices, which just goes to show you that kids should always listen to their parents unless they want to unwittingly embark on life or death adventures. So, we all need excitement in our lives, right? But we also need downtime. We need moments with family and friends. We need time to think and reflect. Video game designers know this better than anyone. No video game keeps up a single pace throughout the entire game. They're always broken up into missions or levels where you can experience the action and then take a break and pause before you head out again. Well, this is called pacing. And where do you think game designers got this idea? They got it from writers, because writers invented pacing. Thousands of years ago, when Homer was working on his epics, he had to worry about pacing. Heroes and heroines go out, they suffer setbacks, they come back, they regroup, they go for their next adventure. Think about Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. There are a lot of exciting scenes. There's a fight with a troll, there's a visit to the Forbidden Forest, there's a Quidditch match. But each one of these is separated by scenes where Harry and his friends get to think and reflect and process what's happened. Can you imagine what it would be like if those scenes weren't there? The whole thing would have been jam-packed with dragons, wizards, trolls, Voldemort, go, 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 go! Video games are the same way. Pick any video game and you'll see the same pattern. Small challenges lead to big challenges, lead to a final confrontation. And that, my friends, is pacing. I had to be very conscious of pacing within the Red. When Michael and Lilith arrive at his father's research station, they find that it's mysteriously abandoned. And as they're trying to figure out what happened there, they have a little time to process the emotion of being left alone. Then, of course, they discover the reason everyone has abandoned the station, and spoiler alert, it's not good. So, the next time you play a video game, pay attention to its setting. Think about its rules and its characters and its pacing. And if you want to design video games for a living, well, play a lot of games. But also, read a lot of books.